Hi, all, Bones here again from AusBSA Bantams, and we're going to have a bit of a look at some of the jobbies that I've done on the Jawa. I hope you all had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and hope this year's a really safe one for you. So, I'll take you off the tripod and we'll have a bit of a walk around about some of the things that I've done. Alright, sorry for about being handheld, but one of the jobs I've done is the side stand. So I actually, if you've been following the Jawa story, which has been ongoing for a while, I actually shortened this because the Jawa side stands are notoriously long and they barely allow the bike to lean over. So I've taken an inch out of it here, so I've got a bit of a lean on the bike. So accordingly I had to modify the spring as well. So I made up a new pin that was flogged out, and so I've got that done. The clutch issue, I said I was going to show you what happened in the last episode, but I've got a really good clutch now. It feels really good. So what actually happened was I was missing a bit, and I should have cottoned on because the bantams are actually the same, but in behind the mechanism in here is a ball bearing, and that was missing. Plus I was one clutch plate down, one of the steel clutch plates. But anyway, we've got all that all sorted, and so that's all working. So as you can see, the rod end engine covers back on, clutch cable in, and we've also got the air filter fitted up. And I think you would have to agree that it is possibly the ugliest looking air filter ever placed on a motorcycle. However, being Eastern Bloc, very, very functional. So you can still get brand new air filter elements for them, and so there's one in there. The cover I blasted and zinc plated when we were pulling all the bits and pieces down. I've got to clean up this wiring. I've just run, where are we? I've just made another wire down there for the horn. The horn will mount up under the, this is the rear fuel tank mount, so it'll mount up off there, so that'll put the horn in about here, away from a leg, away from the fuel tank, and actually look all right. So because I've got one that's got a bit of red in it because of the tank, so it should look really good. I have on the front forks, we've finally got those oil filled now, and they're all done up, ready to go. Still got to do the issue with the front wheel, and we might tackle that in a little while. And over here, over in the bay, I have got might be a bit dark in here, my apologies. So that's actually filled with vinegar. There was a little bit of rust in it, just light surface rust, so I filled the tank with vinegar. If you want to know how much a Jawa tank takes to fill, well, it's more than my bloody Harley Davidson. So yeah, vinegar in there. I will leave that in for a few more days, give it a wash out, dry it, give it a rinse out with metho, and then put a tank sealer in it. So we'll just leave that sitting there. Yes, I have used electrolysis and other molasses and all those sort of things on tanks before. But if you've got the time, I reckon vinegar just works fine. It's cheap as chips. It's not messy like molasses and that. Electrolysis, yeah, it works really well, but there's a bit of bullshit setting it up and all that sort of thing too. So I've had really good results with vinegar, so I'd sort of stick to it. So we're making really good headway, very happy. I've just put my last order into the Jawa shop in Czechoslovakia for some bits and bobs, and the big thing that they had in that I've been waiting for a fair while is the chain guard. They've got a chain guard to suit this bike. Now, some of the mobs in India have got them, but they sort of suit the later model bikes, whereas they've got one for this bike, which is I'm really very happy about. So there's a few other little things. In the previous video I said the headlight needed the bulb holder and everything, so I've ordered that. I've ordered a spare globes and all that sort of thing, and a spare cable and some other stuff. I'm actually missing the chain adjusters out of here as well, so I've ordered a set of those. So a few weeks they should be turning up. So in the meantime, it is back onto finishing off the wiring or getting it Don't you love a air compressor kicking on right when you're videoing? So it's back on to get the wiring has progressed as far as I can go, and then get onto this front wheel and find out what the issue is there. But things are getting closer. It's a little bit exciting when you're getting this far through a restoration, so it's good. It sort of picks up a bit of momentum. So yeah, we'll get into it. Well, I guess this gaggle's not going to make much sense to you, but I'll try and explain it. So you've basically got your positive and negative coming out of your reg rectifier on the other side into your power loom. So this is for your lights. This is your horn connector. I've got another earth on there that I'll put on here. And these bottom wires are all your ignition and power coming up from the stator. So these two interconnecting wires, what I'm doing is I'm actually going to run the kill switch off the existing Jawa headlight switch. So it's pretty novel the way it works. I'll just show you. Just grabbing it. So that's your Jawa headlight switch. That's ignition on. That's ignition off. Then you can go for your lights by turning the key. So mine will actually work the opposite way. So out will mean it'll be open circuit and be able to run. In will close the circuit, and the loop to this is your kill switch into your CDI. That'll close that circuit and kill the engine. So that'll be run, can't fall out, and that'll be off. So what we'll do now, as you can see, I've staggered like soldering joints. I always use trailer wire as from the looms for power, just because these are neater. And yes, there's redundant wires in there because I use the same stuff I use from the electronic ignitions, which is 7-core, but you can get away with 5-core. This time I couldn't because there's a return here for the horn back from the horn switch I did in the last episode. So we'll get this, I will use self-vulcanizing tape and tape this up so that it's weatherproof, and then we'll get some spy wrap and I'll bundle it all up. Obviously I'll get my earth on, but we'll bring it back in a sec when we do that. So that's our finished product. It has to, the looms have to run underneath here because that's where your tank goes onto. There's not enough room in here. So there are your wires for your horn. Some of your CD wires coming into the loom, and your loom progressing out up to the headlight. So we've done the tail light, we've just wired the tail light in. Now I'll start doing some work up the headlight end. So I've got my wires coming up into my loom, and I've identified what wires I need and what wires I don't. That red one's actually the brake light, so it doesn't need to come up to the headlight switch, but all these do. So I will just clean the ends off these, solder them so they go into the connectors on the headlight switch. Do a continuity test of everything. That was my wiring diagram just dropping off there. Do a continuity test on everything and make sure everything's all right. So I've just cleaned my fuel tank out. I've just emptied out all the, what do you call it? The vinegar. Just grabbing a rag to clean around the lip. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wash the tank out with some sugar soap. It's plenty. I'll put some water in, put the cap on, give it a good wash. I'll tip the water out, then I'm going to put some methylated spirits in once I dry most of the water out, and that'll scavenge all the water out of the seams of the tank. We'll let that dry. I'll get a tank sealer and start moving that around. But I'll just bring you over quickly to have a look at some of the crap that just came out just using vinegar. And we'll see if we can have a peer into the tank. Trying as best as I can. So you can see it wasn't that badly rusted. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it did have some stuff. You can still just see some crud in that lip there, and that's the colour of your vinegar, and you can see all the floaties hanging on top as well. So I'll get this tank washed. And in fact, before I'm going to do that, I'm actually going to bubble wrap it, protect my paint. Then I'll wash it and dry it and put the tank sealer in. Trying to get in there. I've just got it sitting out here in the out in the sun, and I've bubble wrapped the tank obviously to protect the paintwork. If the tank wasn't painted, I would have probably, well, I wouldn't have probably, I'd get a hot air gun and an air compressor and just keep blowing it through to dry it out. But it's a nice sunny day here, so we'll leave that sit there for a while to dry out, and then it'll be time for the tank sealer to go into it. But even all the crud off this lip here is just all gone, you know, fantastic. You can see it's even slightly starting to flash rust there, but what I'll do is I'll give that just a wipe over with a bit of oil when I put the cap back on and that, so it'll be fine. All right, our tank is now been sitting outside and dried out. I've just had a look in with a torch and made sure that there's absolutely no, well, as I said, I did a bit of a run about a couple of hours ago with metho in it, just to scavenge any water out of the seals if there's potentially any there. And so now I'm just mixing up tank sealer that I'm about to throw in. And for those of you in the UK, this one is a KBS tank sealer. I don't get paid for promoting products, but I have used this a lot. I think I've heard that it's basically the same as PLR 15, if you can get that. And I think it's ethanol resistant. I'm not sure. We're in Australia, we don't have to worry about that crap unless you go and choose to actually buy it at the pump. Our normal petrol doesn't have ethanol in it, so we'll throw this in. It's another reason I've got the tank all sealed up. Oh, sorry, when I mean sealed up, I mean covered, so I don't drop any on it. I do leave it open so I can see inside the tank, and that's looking good. So for the next couple of hours, I will just keep rotating this around to different positions. Just let it sort of sit for a few minutes, you know, 10-15 minutes in a position. Turn it over. Make sure we've got a good cover. There's plenty in there. So yeah, we'll just keep going like that for a while. Stand it up. I'll try and bring it in. You can see some of it's already taken just there. Even down the back there, it's sort of getting, I don't think you can be able to see it, but anyway. So yeah, all going well. Once the tank's done, I can actually bolt it onto the bike because all the wiring's done underneath it, and I can mount the horn up and plug that in too. So that really could nearly mean we could go for a start, which we may do. We'll see how we go. Alright, as you can see, we've got the tank on, but this is the locking mechanism for the seat. So that little pin there rotates around and allows you to push it in and then lock it back in. So the original one I had, well, I didn't have an original one. It was basically a bolt jammed in there. But what they've done, this has got to be really circular here. It's a bit hard to pick up, but they've distorted it a bit, so that won't go in there properly. So I've got to manipulate this a bit and then bend those tabs over and get it in. And then we can get our seat on. As you can see, I've got the tank on. So I'll just bring it back. So that's looking all right. Around this side we've got the horn fitted up. So yeah, looking good. So I managed to get our locking mechanism in, and this is the way it works. So that's the unlock position. You can see down in there the little pin pushes it in and it locks the tank. So I got that with a bit of careful manipulation without destroying the paint too much. So we'll get the seat on now. So our seat is now fitted up. We're actually starting to look again like a motorbike. So we've just fitted up the top cover for our headlight, speedo in, ignition switch in. Don't go adjusting anything on your screen about static. It's raining here. What Justin's doing is just running a tap through the thread on the bottom. It's got a bit of paint and crap and corrosion and that in it, but it's going well. That's our headlight lens fitted. As you can see, it's got no globe in it, and as I said, I've got some bits coming, such as the left-hand grip and adjusters, but we can still keep going. Looking good. Keep going. That's it. Now I've got a fuel filter and fuel line on. Can't say I'm entirely overawed with the design given how close it is to the exhaust, but that's the way it was. We've just filled the engine up with oil. We are now ready for a start. So we're just about to get it off the stand. We'll chuck some fuel in it and give it a go. Jesus. You all right? Yep. We need to pump tyres up. So I'm just tickling the carby up, and we'll get it up on the roller starter. Fingers crossed. Good. I might have to get you to do that, huh? Ready? Yep. So initial run's really good. So it selects all gears and speedo works. We'll give it a go at kickstarting it. Here's Justy just coming back up the driveway.
Very good.
Yeah, it is. So it's a pretty joyous day. She's finally running. Yes, there are a few adjustments and things to be done on it, such as the clutch. Brakes are really good. I'm very happy with them. Carby's obviously alright. It rides pretty nicely. I do have a bit of a noise, which I suspect may be gearbox, but I'm not sure. I think I've overfilled the front forks, because they're leaking a bit of oil. Pump themselves out to whatever level they want. Now I'm a very happy camper. You saw how easy it was to start, and it rides really nice as well. So we'll get those last little bits and bobs in, and should be fully done. Time to get it registered. I really hope you've enjoyed these series of videos on putting this little Jawa back together. To all my subscribers, thanks very much once again for your ongoing support. Black hands have been working. And so from Bones and the hallowed workshops of Oz BSA Bantams, we'll see you later. I'm going for another ride. Bye bye.